Hey everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. Meat Eater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the Engineer's going to be there. Meat Eater Live headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay? Every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Arts Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.
Hey, this is Tyler Jones, and you're listening to the Element Podcast. What's happening, all my woods people? We are back. We're back. And we're back in the mouse house, dude.
How appropriate.
Very appropriate. It feels good to be back, dude.
Did you ever watch We're Back? Did you watch that when you were a kid? It's a dinosaur movie, like animated.
Was it like Land Before Time? Was it like a sequel or something?
No, it was like a little bit more like cheesy, if you can imagine, than Land Before Time. The sharp tooth and all.
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't watch that, no.
Yeah.
But we are back in the mouse house, which is kind of like an off-season thing, you know?
The mouse house is the off-season house.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, it's been a while. There's hunting stuff in here.
Strewn amongst the whole room.
Yeah. So, which we brought these in here, but it's a couple of pretty gnarly sheds to be looking at.
Yeah.
I like that one you found in East Texas.
Isn't it cool? Where'd it go?
I don't
Actually?
know. I think it's over there.
Here it is.
Yeah.
So we have a Midwest shed.
Yeah.
Of a very large deer. Compared to a deer we're borderline going to shoot if we saw him in 2017.
Yeah.
There is 35 inches of difference in these two sheds.
You sure? I can't even calculate it, whatever it is. You know?
We had the discussion of, are these really the same species of animal?
Yeah.
A while ago.
Yeah.
I'm not a subspecies kind of guy, but this kind of thing right here makes you want to kind of be a subspecies kind of guy.
Dude, we still need to have that subspecies podcast with the marlin expert that you want to do.
That's right.
So, this episode, it's been a while since we've talked, and more than like looking back at what happened this year, I want to kind of look forward and look ahead, a little more. Obviously, we got a few things that have happened in the last couple of weeks that we'd like to talk about, but like we've kind of reached in and talked about everything that we've got, that we did and what happened and everything like that. And I think we're going to do a YouTube series where we kind of discuss some of the like really close calls we had and what we could have done better, So
learn from our own mistakes.
Yeah, and so that's something maybe that you can look forward to that'll kind of recap our season more than we're going to right here in the podcast. But it's kind of a look at what's to come. I mean, I am having I'm in the postseason doldrums struggle to get back on track right now. Mm-hmm. I've been struggling with that, man.
Yeah, me too. I was still fired up about whitetail for a little while because we had that weird muzzleloader season. And I went once, and that's it. And now that's over. And now I'm like a lost puppy dog. One of my friends, I was talking to Brad the other day, and he's all juiced about fishing season already. I'm just not there yet, man.
I'm starting to get there.
I'm looking back still at whitetail. I guess it's because I didn't get to shoot a big buck this year. And, you know, I had like some new tags, some new out-of-state tags this year, and really kind of just thought that would happen for me. And then unforeseen circumstances just kind of got in the way.
Dude, you were so close so many times.
I was, yeah.
I mean, I was looking at videos today.
Yeah.
Back on our season a little bit, just putting some video content stuff together, and you in Texas almost got it done on like a toad, one side spike, like other side gnarly, heavy.
Who might be a deer that we've known longer than any other deer.
Which deer do you think that is?
Wow, it could be Licky. I mean, I don't know, but it could be.
It could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely could be.
The Licky is like a 4 or 5 year old.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it could be. He's a big old sucker. I was looking at him, I don't know if you noticed this, but I was looking at the videos, you know, rewinding it and stuff. And dude, his literally from his hock down, solid black.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. I need to watch that on a full screen.
Yeah.
I'm really guilty of watching all my YouTube videos that I watch on a phone, and you miss out on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was telling you about the buck that came through in that PLC from mid-November on us that we were like grunting at with our mouths because we didn't have a grunt call.
Losers!
We just got back from Kansas and we lost all our grunt calls and rangefinders and everything.
Are full of the element grunt calls.
And rangefinders. So we were like mouth grunting at this thing, and finally I pull out the horns and everything. But he never really even stopped. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I got to look back at it today, and I was like, because we thought it was forever. We thought it was this busted up 8-point, right? That, or I guess he was an 8-point. I don't know what he was, but he's busted up big time on one side. And I went back and looked, and I was like, this dude has a full rack. Whatever he is.
Wait, I didn't realize that.
Dude, he's got 2s and 3s on both sides.
Really?
So, anyway, yeah, so that's why I was thinking it was that buck.
See, I thought you'd already told me before we started recording that you thought it was that buck, but I thought it was him busted up.
Yeah. No, he's got 2s and 3s on both sides.
Really that's sad now.
That's the benefit of looking at it on a computer and like slowing it down and everything.
Yeah.
You know? I hate like the film videographer side of me like hates to slow down footage that's not filmed in a frame rate that's fast enough to be slowed down, you know, because I just think that looks so cheap.
Yeah.
So I don't do it, but I probably should have done it.
I need to start just filming in 60 more with that AX100.
Yeah.
It slows your battery down and, you know, your card space. But, I mean, how often are you going to use 35 minutes of card space when you're hunting? Not very often.
In Texas? Not
very often. It's usually about 4. Oh, those deer ran by. All right, there's the hunt.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Y'all got to look at a tail because it was so thick. Yeah, they were actually at 35 yards.
Yeah,
we had them in range.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I thought that was just briars.
No, that was his rack.
Yeah. But anyways, man, what a tangent. Where were we even going with that? Oh, just like how close I was a lot.
Yeah,
man. And then in the Midwest, I was close twice. Very, very, like as close, probably as close as I've been to a whitetail.
Yep.
Like 16 yards without shooting.
Yep.
I run through that every day in my mind.
Do you?
I do.
See,
I'm ready for that mistake video.
Are
on
you?
that one.
Yeah.
I am. I don't think. I don't know if I made mistakes. I don't know. So, let's just say there's different degrees of mistakes.
Yeah.
Right? Like, putting the wrong pin on a deer is a very high degree of a mistake. You know what I mean? But, like, maybe not taking, I don't know. How am I going to say this? I should have been trying to shoot him sooner.
Yeah.
But I thought I had all the time in the world. And so I was trying to make it perfect. And, and it did, like, within 45 seconds, it went way south of perfect.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's kind of a mistake.
There's definitely things that you could have done differently, and it's not that you necessarily made a mistake. You know what I mean? Like, looking back at it, like, when you saw him, if there was enough time, maybe, you know, and this is me looking from, you know, 300 yards or whatever, but maybe there's a chance that when you see him, you're just like, hey, flag him or whatever, you know, you like kind of signal to me real quick. I mean, who knows if that makes a difference or not. Then
go ahead.
Well, I mean, yeah, so like that, I mean, that's just like one thing, you know, I mean, who knows?
Well, part of my thing was like, that was after we had the rangefinder debacle on the toad that we rattled in, right? Mm-hmm. And I was a little bit paranoid of ranging deer. And I couldn't get a bounce off of him. And I was trying to get a good bounce off of grass. And that's not something that's easily done, you know?
You never
know what blade of grass you're actually hitting off of.
Yeah.
And I think that's in my mind, like looking back, that's the thing that why I was trying to take so much time and so much care.
Mm-hmm.
When really, if I would have like thought about it, I'd be like, okay, this deer is like 20 yards in the end just because I can tell how close he is. So just shoot him. You know?
Yeah. It's deceptive though out there
It
too.
is,
Like
'cause
that
they're
open
big.
country, like even you might think he's 20. I mean, I went back and watched the video of the first one, the first debacle.
Of the two? Of the buck that
from early
we
November.
missed, yeah.
Yeah. And he looks 20 in the camera, like
yeah.
all day. You know what I mean? And I knew in person it wasn't, but like if I hadn't have thought about it for a second, I mean, he was like 25 yards. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like just looked like that. So, and the reason I had trouble in that first place was all the grass. I couldn't get a good range on him, you know. So, yeah. Well, I have to say we weren't going to look back at all this stuff, but we kind of are.
That's all right, man. We said this podcast wasn't going to be about that, but that's still where I'm at mentally.
Yeah.
And I need to move on.
I think we talked about this before, but you were like, I just like cry in the moment, and you cry like 3 months later.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what I
right,
mean?
dude. I get like down.
Yeah.
And it's gotten like,
You just need to go catch a big fish, dude.
dude, I can't wait for carp season. But like, it's so hard to like do as we're told and like rejoice in your struggles, right?
Yeah.
And this goes outside of like the hunting scape, but we haven't really talked about this in the podcast yet. But like I kind of had a rough season a little bit, and then wrapped it up. I got to shoot a buck on public this year, which was cool.
Mm-hmm.
But and it kind of like made things better.
He was a
But
certain kind of bug. We won't
He
name.
was.
We won't name what kind of buck he was.
He wasn't a veggies buck. He was something else.
No, he wasn't.
But anyways, you and I went to the ATA show this year, which was the first time for us, and that was cool. Different but cool, and you can listen to, what was that, 101?
Yep, I think so.
Yeah. our
Wheat and
last-
chaff.
Yeah, Wheat and Chaff, our last podcast, to hear all about that. But then we recorded that on the way home in the daylight, very safely. Mm-hmm. We have headsets, so it's like just like talking.
Yeah.
And made it all the way back to Texas, made it to my hometown, and we were headed to go carry you home. And had a guy pretty much pull out in front of us, kind of in a weird way, but that's what it was, and got in a big car wreck.
Yep.
And my new truck.
Yep.
And it didn't total my truck, but it caved in both sides of the bed and did some damage on the door, and didn't do anything to the other guy's truck hardly at all. He had a big grill guard or whatever, and he was an all right guy. It wasn't like he was trying to do anything mean or bad or anything, but just didn't have a blinker on. And here we go. You know, just like drop the money on a big truck, or not big truck, but like a newer truck to me.
Because your
my
other
Jeep
vehicle-
had broken down, which what kept me from going to Kansas in December. So that kind of all compiled on each other, and then here we go, and I just spent all this money on this truck, about to make my first payment, and now I'm driving a rental minivan because my truck is in the shop, and it's like, man, this is rough.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I'm having a hard time, like just burying the 2018 deer season, because it's just like it's not a closure thing. It's like it's like what if kind of thing, you know, but you can't live that way. So, but I mean, the big takeaway is that you and I were safe and sound through that wreck, which I'm so glad we were.
I was never really scared during the moment. I think I told you this, but like you drove it exactly like I would have drove it. We kind of shot the gap.
We did.
Like we could have slammed on the brakes and probably smoked him pretty good. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But instead we shot the gap, and the
I
gap.
didn't accelerate through the gap.
No,
Yeah.
just like let it cruise on.
Yeah.
Because that was like the only option. I mean, I felt like at that point, and
I
ended up-
remember
the gap hit us on both sides, so
It
that's how
did.
close it was.
Okay, so I hit a stop sign with the other side of the truck, and it did almost as much damage as the other truck. That is like the world's strongest stop sign ever. But I can remember, like, you and I both like saw the truck and didn't think anything of it, and we're headed down the road further, and then he made that really weird turn, and you go, "Oh shoot!" And I was like, "Oh, here we go," and I just remember like sliding through the ditch and then getting control or whatever and pulling in the parking lot. You know, it was like really calm. And then after that, all the adrenaline hit.
Yeah.
I had to pee real bad. I couldn't wait on the cop to show up. I had to go in there in the restaurant there and use the bathroom.
He didn't care.
He didn't care at all.
Did he?
No. Mr. Sheriff's officer had not a care in the world that night and just left his notebook with me and went all the way back to
We're sitting
the
there
sheriff's station.
changing one of your tires that got slashed after everybody has left. Not even the guy who ran into us offered to help us. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there changing, and I look up on the tailgate, and I'm like, "Hey, KC, check this out. This guy's notebook is on your tailgate."
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was a little bit indifferent on who got blamed for that one, I guess.
Yeah, but thanks to you, we have good video evidence of blinkerage not working. So, not that you pulled your phone out during the wreck, but afterwards we were able to get some stuff. But, unless there's a good reason to have insurance, I suppose, and it's all been pretty headache-free since then. Except
good.
I'm not happy with Enterprise Rental Car right now. I'm going to go ahead and throw that brand out there to just burn that bridge. They perturbed me pretty good. But besides that, that's where I'm at right now, man. I'm ready to get back in the woods and do a little hunting.
Yeah.
And
I mean, how's the wreck gonna affect your? I mean, I already see that you're having to work a lot, but how's it gonna affect like the rest of your spring or your summer? Do you know?
I don't know at this
point. Or not
point.
necessarily the wreck, but like everything, the land purchase and the wreck. And
so I guess that's the other thing that like I haven't really talked about the financial side of things. Like my wife and I recently purchased land. We've talked about that a few times on the podcast, I think, which is, a pretty good size expense, but we're talking monthly payments and all this stuff, right? It's not like a big lump sum thing, and then like right before, literally 2 days before we signed on the land, my Jeep broke down, and I like knew it wasn't going to be like a fix it quick kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It's just like, oh shoot, like I can't back out of this land thing now. And so now I have, our household income went from, a set amount plus 2 payments that we didn't have before, So I think as far as like my outdoor lifestyle, it's not going to have a huge effect because by the time like deer season comes around, that's where the big expenses are too, deer or hunting season in general, like fishing. I can fish around the house and be pretty happy, but I will have to work a good bit. But I think that just like our plans as a family of like starting to build a house pretty soon and stuff has kind of got pushed back some, which kind of stinks because I hate paying rent so much. Yeah. But I don't know. We're still going to try to push on and get this thing done. I don't feel terrible about it. It's just, everybody has car payments and other mortgages and stuff. That's just the way it goes. We've just been living easy for a long time because we drove older vehicles and paid off vehicles and stuff. So. Oh, well, that's where we're at, Yeah. We'll deal with it. I am excited to, I guess maybe one of the things that makes it better is that we did have the land purchase. So a lot of my itch for like hunting and scouting and stuff will get scratched on like managing my own property. I've got pretty big plans for what I want to do on this place for all manners of wildlife, not just whitetail, but, I really need to get my vehicle back to be able to go and do stuff like that because I can't do a ton of things out of a minivan. Yeah. Although I did haul a 4x8 sheet of plywood in that thing today.
That's good.
Yep, it works.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, but so hopefully this doesn't put too much of a burden on what you and I are able to do. We're still planning on heading out and making maybe a big loop for shed season. With some new details you revealed to me recently. Yeah,
we're trying to. I think we're going to do a turkey hunt no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
But wherever, we're not sure if there's more than one or not, but we've got a turkey hunt planned.
We got a Texas turkey hunt, which is, I'm pretty pumped about that.
Yeah. Me too, man. It's been forever since I've hunted turkeys and in Texas especially, I guess.
I bet it's been, let's see, it's been probably 16 years since I've shot a turkey.
Whoa.
That's a long time, dude. I was in 8th grade the last time I shot a turkey.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. It's been a while for me too, man. I was in high school. Yeah. I'm sure. Let's see. Well, I guess I was. Yeah, I probably was. We did some stuff in Kansas hunting birds. In Kansas in like 14, I think, and we got on some birds, but I was the video guy, so I didn't.
Yeah.
Since I had shot a bunch and my buddy hadn't, I decided to let him shoot, and so he shot at a couple. And bow hunting turkeys is hard.
Yeah,
So,
I can imagine.
Yeah. So anyway, that's probably about the last time I really chased them around. It's kind of like, I mean, we've talked about it before. It's not just to walk out our back door and start hearing turkeys in the spring kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, we got to go at least 3 hours to really get into like huntable populations probably. So anyway, that's the plan. Go out there. Before that though, we got, duck season ends this weekend. I'm hoping to get out one more time. I got to video earlier this year, a buddy and some of his buddies, and we're going to put together a really cool film on that with a really cool story from one of my friend's friends. And so I'm excited about that, but I'd like to get a little more footage, and honestly, like, I'd like to have some duck meat. I love duck poppers and duck gumbo. Like, those are two of my favorite things. If you cook the duck medium rare, if you do it over that, it's just kind of not good.
I've been like watching a lot of duck cooking lately.
Have you?
And I really want to go shoot some mallards next year and eat them. But like only target mallards.
Yeah.
That's all I want to shoot.
Well, I know
not because I want greenheads, but like I want
big fat ducks.
big fat ducks.
Yeah. That's I know where a few of them are. Not a lot. Yeah, on public land. I was stomping around the other day, which this might segue well into what we're talking about.
Nice.
But like I went out for a little small game, hunting. I took, and I don't know if this is legal or not, but I took lead shot and steel shot with me.
Well, you're doing your best to be legal.
Yeah. So I was walking around with steel shot in because I had 3.5s. I think there were 2s. And so I was like, well, if I walk up on a hog or a duck, then I'll be legal. But if I see a squirrel, I'm going to pop some bird shot in and smoke him, right? Or a rabbit, which in the case of a rabbit, like, you're likely to not even get a shot at that point.
Yeah.
But, I'm trying to be legal. So anyway, I walked around, didn't see any sign of a squirrel. Lots of flooded happening. We've had lots of rain this year. And so walked and walked, and I end up coming back around, and I'm going to kind of work my big loop back in this way. I'm trying to get to a creek to see if I can jump some ducks off this creek, and it's just too flooded. And so I start circling back around, and I come to this like low spot, and I'm like, I didn't know it was a low spot at first, but I saw big trees. I thought, well, there's oak trees, looks like. So I'm going to head over there and see if there's any squirrels or anything. As I'm take a few steps, I get closer, I start noticing like, oh, this is flooded out. There might be some ducks in there. But like, it's late in the morning. I haven't seen anything moving, It's hardly even birds chirping for some reason. It was a beautiful morning. And so I just kind of like ho-humming through there like Elmer Fudd. And all of a sudden, like off this flooded timber right in front of me, 5 mallards get up, just all the way out, And I'm just like, dadgummit. So I sit there forever. I'm like, there's got to be more than that. There's somewhere in there. I can't really see. I'm pretty close, And so sit there and nothing happens for forever. So finally I'm like, I got my camera on my tripod over my shoulder, so I can't like jump shoot anything. So I thought, man, I thought about putting it down and walking, and then, but then I have to go back and get my camera if nothing happened. And this flooded spot was pretty big. I mean, substantial. I couldn't see it all, So anyway, I didn't put my camera down. I thought, well, I'll walk a little bit before I put my camera down. As soon as I take like 2 steps, like 30 yards, 3 wood ducks bust up. And I'm like, dadgummit. So they take off, And so anyway, I'm like, thinking how dumb I am, and all of a sudden I hear just a rant, 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 rant. And I look up, and there's a mallard circling at me, trying to come back in. And I'm like, dadgummit, I got blaze orange on because I'm trying to be legal, And so I like try to sneak up under this oak tree where he can't see me from above. He works for like 5 minutes. I had actually called you, I think, at this point.
Yeah, we were talking on the phone. You're like, I got mallards working. I was like, okay, call me back.
Yeah. So like he works and works and works, dude. And then finally, I think he had seen me a couple times, he like works off, like probably 2 minutes later, he works back in. I hear him again. And so I get tucked up in this tree. On the first pass, he comes down to like probably like 40 yards in the air, and he's like cupped. And all of a sudden, he just sees me, orange, and just flares. And literally like 60 seconds later, I hear a shot.
Oh.
And I'm like, somebody else smoked that dude.
You know you can take your orange off when you start duck hunting.
See, I don't know how that
neat
works.
Rule?
I mean, it is a neat rule, isn't it?
Yeah,
but it's weird because I wasn't by like a normal source of water. You know what I mean?
I think if you got steel shot in your gun, I mean, you're duck hunting. Right?
I would think so too. I don't know. I actually posted something on the Instagram story, and a lot of people saw it. And nobody was willing to speak up on it. I was like, "Hey, what do y'all think about this?"
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, why is it like a super concern for our safety whenever we have bows and arrows in our hands to wear a bunch of blaze orange, but as soon as you pop some BB in your shotgun, steel shot, like, oh yeah, man, camo out. Nobody's gonna shoot you.
Yeah, I don't understand either.
Yeah,
I feel like I know. Actually, I know for a fact. I've seen guys scouting ducks on public that should have had blaze on, but they were like scouting ducks, so they weren't wearing it. And I don't know, like that's legal.
Yeah, I mean, if we go hunt and you're straight up cameraman, you don't have to have on blaze.
Really?
Yeah, just me as
so like a normal person walking on public wouldn't have to wear.
Huh? It's just a safety thing. I don't understand why it's a thing at all. I don't understand why it's why there's a variance. I would be for us being more like the Yankee states, where you got to wear orange, whether you're on public or private, if it's rifle season. Mm-hmm. Because think about it, we hunt on some people hunt on 10-acre or less parcels and are shooting rifles. There could definitely be somebody over there in the brush.
Yeah, I've always thought about that. I'm like, dude.
What's it going to
crazy? Because I was hunting a small property this year, and I was like, and I know a few people around there that are rifle hunting, and I'm like, dude, these people are literally like they could be sitting 300 yards from me right now. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Easy. It's weird.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I know, but it's law, so I mean, I'm probably not going to wear my orange unless. Here's the deal. On that property of mine over there, I don't think anybody hunts near me, which is a great thing, by the way. But like, if I had a small parcel and there were people like next to me hunting as well, I would think about wearing some orange just so like I don't get my butt shot.
Yeah. I was thinking about this because I'm editing the Frankenstein film right now, and I was thinking, man, people are going to be like, "What is this guy doing?" But I wore orange on the way in because I had that decoy and it was daylight.
You remember, I was telling Richard about this the other day. We had just chased this deer that I'm holding the shed of. Okay, we had just chased this giant 8-point across the prairie, and we're like kind of wallowing in defeat, eating our mountain house, and we look across the vale there, and there's a deer on the skyline.
Yep.
Like, what is that? What's going on over there?
Way off, too.
It was way off over there, but you could tell it was a deer skylined, and it was moving like at a pretty quick pace, but it looked strange. So we put our binos on it, and ends up it's a dude with a decoy on his back, toting it across the skyline at 11 a.m. He's toting a decoy, and it's like, what are you doing? But the point is, like, that was a case of mistaken identity.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, for sure.
I saw a dude that I thought was a deer.
Yeah.
If he'd have had on orange, that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy to think about. And I like in that situation, I'm not required, but I wore, because I just don't want to get shot.
Yeah, it was rifle season. Right?
Yeah. So, was it? I don't even know if it was then, but I think it was.
I think it was.
Either way, I mean, I don't pay attention to when it is too much up there. So, like, if I don't know, then I'm still just going to err to the caution, or whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's shortly after you had a conversation about, like, a huge poaching ring.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Some dudes were telling you. So, poachers really don't care if it's rifle season or not.
Nope, they don't.
And they probably are going to be shooting whatever kind of deer they see. So, it doesn't matter if you got an antlerless decoy or a antlered decoy.
Yeah.
So, it's a smart move, man.
Yeah. I mean, the likelihood is nearly 0% of even being shot at where I was, but like walking down the fence line and stuff. I'm just like, might as well.
Imagine where you are though.
Yeah.
You were like remote.
Yeah.
You get shot
ain't
off
no
out
help.
there? No.
No. And maybe not phone service. So kind of scary. I did have phone service though.
Yeah.
When I tried to text you though.
We actually
I shot a deer.
We had a pretty good correspondence when you shot Frank. That was cool.
Yeah. It's on video. I don't know. I probably won't put it on there really, but
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, like the small game thing is what I was after. Found those ducks, and we're thinking about maybe going and doing some small game stuff this weekend.
Yeah, depends on the duck outlook and stuff like that, I guess. And
which has been poor.
I need to work, which is lame. But right now I'm busy, so that's good. But I would really like to get out and do some walking around and shoot some stuff, man. I'd love, like, whitetail hunting for me is not a stress reliever until I actually shoot the deer, it seems. I hate to say that, but it's the truth because I've like gone down this path you can't return from of like really wanting to shoot a big buck.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so like I'm just constantly like self-inducing stress on myself to make that happen until it does. And then it feels good. And elk hunting's kind of the same way. But like small game hunting, dude, I'm listening to every chee-chee bird. I see the red birds. Oh, look at that woodpecker. You know, like it's just so like it's
fun.
Yeah, it's like meditation almost. You know, walking around out there, and then you get to blast a rabbit that's running like 90 miles an hour. It's a crap ton of fun too.
Yeah.
I remember last year one of the rabbits I shot busted out of that brush pile, and then I just threw it up and shot, and my shotgun was like sideways on my shoulder, but I smoked him. And then there was this hole through all the brush for where my pattern went. It was cool.
Yeah.
And like shot a hole in the brush.
It was thick, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was fun, man. I can't wait to do it again. And if we get to go this weekend, maybe we get to walk down a creek somewhere and find a duck too. That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Because it'll be open.
Yeah. If we do that, we need to just have a dude that's the shotgun guy or the steel guy and that is the lead guy.
Yeah. That's what we should do, man.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we'll get to do that.
Hopefully so.
After somewhere after this weekend, I'm going to probably be building a house this spring. So that's kind of I'm not super excited about it from a financial burden standpoint. Mm-hmm. But my wife is really excited about it, and it's going to be nice to have a place to put my stuff. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
And I'm living in 560 square feet. So 4 people, that's not a lot of room to do things and to store things. So it's getting kind of old, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's exciting. Y'all are going to start on that. I didn't know you were gonna start that soon.
I just want to start on it. You know, like I'm tired of bid process and trying to put all that together for the bank to try to prove that, you know, the numbers are going to work out and everything. So my wife's doing most of that work. I hate to say it, but I don't want to do it. And so I told her, I was like, look, I'll help you out with this some, but you probably have to do a lot of this, but I'll do everything whenever we get the money. You know what I mean? Like when we get the money, I'll go build it.
Yeah.
Or find people. So,
you know, it's funny. We're in a little bit different part of the process where you were, what, a year and a half ago, right? Or something like that? Or a year ago? I don't know. Whenever it was that y'all built the shop.
We sold less than a year ago.
Okay. So about a year ago is where we're at now.
Shop was finished in April, I think.
So we're like trying to build this small structure to then build our big house later, right? Not big, but, you know, bigger than the small thing. And my wife is like all juiced about this little thing. And first of all, I'm like, we got to make this cheap no matter what so we can get it done. But it's like, secondly, I do this for a living every day. Mm-hmm. I'm not excited to stay up till 10:30 every night talking about this little project. Like,
yeah.
I'm not excited about it. But her point is like, well, it's our house. Like, yes, I know, but believe me, when you've lived in the family that I did and you've had 27-year houses as you grew up, like, you don't really have a lot of connection to the house, you know?
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, there are a couple things that like I'm going to want in my house, but I pretty much have just said, look, I mean, if you need help, I'll help you with deciding on something. But if you start coming to me and ask me what I think and then just not really like taken into consideration. He's like just asking me just so that you can like, you know, prove to yourself that what you want to do is what you want to do. Then I'm just gonna like stop answering you. I'm just gonna be like, all right, you just do whatever. I really don't care. I just need a place to put my stuff. You know what I mean? Put my mounts on the wall. So
that's right, man.
Anyway, so like that would be a process that I think we'll get into pretty soon, and then we're going to end up hopefully if we go do the small game thing, we'll be able to throw a few cameras out for like postseason type stuff. And if we can do that, then there's that.
You're more fired up about getting that postseason info this year than I am.
Well, I think that it's like maybe the most important part of time to scout.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially after the wet year that we've had this year.
That's true. So something that we've noticed and something that we've like made mention of and maybe even been guilty of complaining about in the past is that in our certain area of Texas and even other parts of Texas too, deer don't make trails. And who was it? Was it Chad?
No, it was. I thought it was Zach Fehrenball.
Maybe it's Zach Fehrenball at ATA brought this up. Yeah. That the deer in the northern latitudes are heavier, so they make more of an imprint.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's genius.
Yeah.
That's why he's Zach.
Me and him had this conversation. I was like, dude, I've been thinking the same thing. Because he was talking about they had been in Alabama.
Yeah.
And so
they got baby deers just like us.
Yeah. And so he was like talking about how like there's not trails like normal, you know, like it's just kind of like transition areas, you know. And so he started saying like how the deer, I was like, dude, this is exactly what I've been thinking. And, you know, being from where they're at, they're just not used to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they've got heavier deer. And it makes sense, I think.
Yeah,
you know?
I think it makes good sense. But this year it's been super wet.
Yeah.
And we've noticed that there are trails this year, and they're pretty apparent. And it's pretty cool to see. So, like, there's probably will be some pretty valuable, at least, like, deer movement pattern information to be gained out there right now.
I mean, if nothing else, like, just the boots on the ground right now in the postseason are pretty effective, I think.
I think I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
But for me, what I'm not, like, super pumped about is the camera stuff.
Yeah.
Because I just don't, like, I haven't seen where postseason cameras have really paid off for us yet. Except maybe, like, in the hunt for teenager. But we haven't even seen that deer on the hoof yet. So it's hard to say that. But we at least like knew he was alive postseason and stuff. And we'll have those cameras. I mean, we still have those cameras out right now.
I really just would like to, this may not help us still, I don't know, but like, I'd really like to get a few cameras out into some new places and just let them sit until shed season or whatever, just so that like we can go, okay, well, there's 2 or 3 bucks in there that live, you know, in that area that are shooters.
Yeah.
So knowing that, maybe we'll hunt there next year on some certain wind or weather condition, you know.
See, I think that for me, like the most valuable camera information to get right now would be like August and September of teenager. Like if we can find him then, and we've been talking about this forever, but I feel like the hole in our game is the August and September spot.
2 years ago, August was flooded.
Was it?
Yeah.
In this.
Remember, we were hunting the what we called not the hole, but what was it, like the chute? We called it the chute.
Yeah.
Over there, and it was like a chute area, and where like it was one of those places that you just looked at it and you go, that's a place that they can travel. Like it's just easy travel through the woods. You just see these like weird lanes in the woods sometimes, and so it was where we originally picked them up. And I remember having to go in there and pull cameras when it was soaking wet, and we didn't get any trail camera information in there in the late summer. And we actually didn't even hang a camera in there until I think we went back in there in November. And so, like, everything we have data-wise is like November and later in there.
Yeah.
On that entire property, pretty much.
Yeah. And I feel like August is always when, like, some trail camera, like, mishap plagues us. Like, whether that's stolen cameras. We had, like, 4 or 5 cameras stolen in August, right?
Well, we put them out in August.
Yeah.
And I went back
in October or something.
Late October, I think, and to try to gather some information, and they were all gone.
And then, like, SD card malfunctions or dead batteries out of nowhere. Because remember we had that one picture or video of 7, and that's like the only thing we had from September of 17 over at Babylon. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. There's just like, I think maybe like we get so pumped about that summer scouting stuff that like we kind of almost have a second, the feeling that we're having right now. Mm-hmm. Like after the summer, it's almost like you grind it out so hard for the summer. It's like, okay, come on, season, just get here. And maybe you kind of lax on things or whatever. Yeah. I don't know.
See, I don't know. Like, I feel like that September would be really good information to have. Mm-hmm. But like, do you go in there October 10th to get the camera when you hunt? Or like, how do you, I feel like if you go in there in October, you're going to sweat. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? No doubt in Texas.
This year has been such a wet year that I think that you just wait till it's fixing to rain and you go in there like right before the rain and get the stuff. Because, I believe that a rainstorm like gives you a clean slate on scent. So maybe you bump a deer or something when you go in there. I don't know. It's kind of dangerous. But I just think that, like, for instance, this year, we didn't pick up Teenager till October 24th, right?
Looking back, I'm not sure if we even picked him up that early or not.
Was it not? It was rut dates?
It might have been.
But it was down there at...
I thought it was the 24th, but I'm not sure if it's that other buck that we saw.
It might be. Either way, it was like in deer killing time. Mm-hmm. You want to be picking up the buck before it's time to go killing.
Right, yeah. Before late October.
So, I don't know. I just feel like that's... Not to say it's not important now, but... I guess your point is good. Like, why not find more shooters? That way we're not restricted to, such and such.
Well, especially with all the camera recon that we have done over on in the area that Teenager lives. Mm-hmm. I don't feel bad about going in there and hunting now. Mm-hmm. I feel like I could go in there and hunt with a certain condition at a certain time of year and have a pretty good chance if you still living there. You know what I mean? So, like... Not that I don't want to learn more about that property or about the deer, because we obviously haven't seen them even yet. But I feel like that there are other places that we could go. Oh well, there's an eye opener. We found this little weird spot, where there's 4 bucks that are shooters.
You want to know what I thought about today?
What's that?
If Teenager lived, what is he going to be in 19? He's going to be, dude. That's going to be a big deer.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I think so.
Okay, all right. We got to move on from that. Ooh.
It's weird because he didn't seem like... I think he may have grown a little bit of mass maybe this year.
I think his body got bigger, and that's kind of what might have been deceiving.
Maybe. He might have been bigger, but he just... I feel like he was taller off his head last year.
Yeah, I thought that too.
Kind of weird.
Yeah, it's kind of strange.
But
I missed that look. I hope he...
I know, me too.
It. It's kind of neat.
Dude, it looks impressive on some of those trail cam pics.
It's a good point you have about the trail camera data and finding new shooters, but as we evolve in our public land style of hunting, especially in Texas now, we're kind of like legal buck taking the shot. 3.5-year-old older. That's kind of reverse of what that trail camera search is for. I guess if we picked up a giant, we'd still be like, oh, let's go find him.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of the point. But now I'm almost with you. The boots on the ground matters more. You go in there and find some good buck sign in a place. I don't really care what buck it is. You go in there, and if it's a 105-inch East Texas 8, that's cool. Let's go shoot that sucker.
That's the main thing that I would like to find is by stomping around, find a funnel similar to the one that we hunted several times this year, including last time we were up there. You know what I mean? Finding the funnels that you can't see from Google Earth, and they're just not super obvious. Mm-hmm. And I think with a good beat-in trail, you can find that trail and go, why is this so beat in? Why are they going here and not 40 yards over there? And then you start to look at everything and you put it together.
Yeah.
Whereas before, if you didn't have that trail that was beat in like that, you would just pass through there and not even think twice about it. That's kind of how I feel about it, So
that's a good point.
But anyway, that's kind of the plan going forward. This spring, going to do some shed hunting, maybe permission seeking sometime in March, which permissions are something that I think I'm going to try to work a little harder on this year.
Locally?
both. You know, because it's likely that I'll draw an Iowa tag, and it'd be cool to go shoot one on public. But like, I'm into having a good experience and shooting a big deer. It doesn't matter if it's on public or private, really, too much to me anyway. So,
well, that's still like a part of what we are, right? Like the get it done however kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, as long, I mean, I guess if you wanted to get an outfitter and pay $5,000 or something, then, you know, go ahead and do it, you know, but like still it's cool to like know that like your hard work produced
right.
the property.
Right.
you
Yeah.
know?
And I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they get hit up every year by new people or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of them, but
I mean, people only go in there every 3, 4, 5 years. So you know, maybe you hit the person up when, well, nobody's here this year.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Your local bow shop boy says that he'd go up there and hunt public.
Really?
Yeah. He does. I was surprised to hear him say that.
Yeah. Well,
But he said he'd do.
I would. I mean, I know there's. You know, I've seen the
Toads.
dadgum fully grown trees that have been rubbed up there. You know, so
Shoulder high.
yeah. I mean, I know there's big ones on there. I don't know. It would just be cool to not have to walk a mile and a half every time in and out. You know what I mean?
It would be cool, man.
So I think that's kind of like the difference sometimes. And I think overall, like a lot of your pub is going to be pretty good habitat, whereas like other private might not always be good habitat. But if you find like decent private, I think you're just basically eliminating a lot of walking possibly that you'd have to do. So
Yeah, not to mention like for us, like the filming aspect of the private.
Yeah.
too. You know, like it's a whole lot easier to slow down and get good shots and like make sure that, you know, even for B-roll stuff or whatever, you know, it's just
dude, that's something I've been missing lately, because basically since I stopped editing Nameless in probably like August, and it was just minor edits at that point, like I haven't really had any like super beautiful full-length film footage to edit, you know.
I got a plan for this. I've been thinking about this too.
Do you? I got
Yeah.
some plans too.
All right,
I got
good.
some plans.
Good.
What's your plans?
So we got a turkey thing coming up this spring.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like, not to say money in the bank, but like it's supposed to be good, right?
Yeah.
I think we go all out cinematography on this thing and like make it, because like our run and gun stuff's fun, but a lot of people do it, you know,
Yeah.
and not to get too far into like film philosophy with y'all or anything, but like, dude, I kind of miss that, like, rock troll, you know, Nameless thing, you know, like man, this is just unreal that I was a part of this. You know what I mean? Like I miss that. And maybe the turkey thing could be a good time to do, because it's so pretty that time of year anyways, you know, green up and
Dude,
stuff.
I thought the same thing. And honestly, like in Texas, we're kind of, when you think about just the surrounding aspects of a turkey hunt in Texas as compared to like Wyoming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's there's likely not like anything green on the landscape during first part of turkey season in, you know, Merriam's country or whatever. But here in Texas, in Rio country, like whenever
Blue bonnets, Indian paintbrushes,
bumblebees,
buttercups.
yeah, just like butterflies, man. You know, green fields full of stuff. You
Crimson
know,
clover.
Yeah, exactly. And everything's just, you know, different birds and stuff have started working their way, you know, and so like it just it's a cool thing that we get to experience. So I'm very excited about it, and I'm kind of with you, man. That's a good idea. I actually wasn't thinking that, but it would be cool. It'd be cool to try to capture all those different animals that are like representative of spring and the different flowers and stuff in different ways. I've been trying to. I kind of like told my wife, I got a birthday coming up. I'm gonna be like 90, but I'm gonna try
Coming
to
up real soon.
yeah. So I'm trying to convince my wife that I told her I wanted a macro lens, and I've wanted one for a while now, but it's just like such a specialized lens that you know, I haven't ever put any money into one, and so there's a lot of things that I need. You know, like I actually kind of need to do other things well, but I told her I kind of wanted one.
Shoot. I need like straight up just shirts to wear, okay? And I'd rather buy stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, that's something me and my wife have to talk about a lot. You know, like, no, you need a button up. And I was like, well, I got two. Like, and we'll swap them out at church every week. It's fine.
That's
you know?
right. That's how I do, man. I actually thought about that last Sunday. I was like, dadgum, I just don't have any shirts that are decent.
Me neither.
I basically look like a rock star at church. You know, I'm like, oh.
You always look like a rock star, dude. Don't worry.
Well, I definitely need some decent shirts, I feel like. But yeah, so, but I mean, I'm like, even like guitar stuff, like, you know, when I play, I just get my board's in shambles and like, there's stuff that I need. I got, you know, inner monitors. One side doesn't even work anymore. They're trying to charge me like $600 to fix it. I'm like, no, this is not happening. So anyway, yeah, that's, that would be a good idea, man. And, you know, like speaking of like spring film stuff, and my idea for like doing some cool filming would be, we've talked about it a little bit, but I want to do the smallmouth in the Ozarks really bad. And so
we've got connections.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just feel like that it would be cool to like showcase different parts of the Ozarks and like how they differ from each other, but they all carry like really good smallmouths, you know. I think that'd be cool.
I don't know if I know how to showcase the different parts of the Ozarks. I would just be going up there and just taking a shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, certain cities have different, you know, festivals and that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's more culture.
Yeah.
See, when you say different parts of the Ozarks, I automatically go to like topography, geography, like, you know, the landscape side of things. But that's a cool aspect. I never really thought about that. It's kind of like the Texas barbecue kind of thing.
Yeah. I kind of wonder, though, if like Ozark smallmouths look different, you know, 3 hours apart or whatever.
Yeah, they might.
I don't know. Anyway, that's kind of something I thought about. But, yeah, we're going to do turkeys, and I'm probably going to do some smallmouth stuff, whether I make a big cinematography, you know, style film out of it or whatever. But
yeah.
I want to do frogs really bad, dude. I think I've told you this, but I've got an old frog gig that is my granddad's frog gig.
Is it a pinch gig?
No, it's a prong.
It's a prong?
Yeah.
4?
Yeah.
Sweet.
I think 4, maybe 5. It's got a lot of prongs on it. But
That's
they're
a real
old. They're not even like sharp.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like dull, rusted. So like I don't know if it would even work or not. And I might could sharpen them up with a file or something like that.
Yeah, I bet you can. We'll make that happen.
It'd be cool.
Because that's a cool story.
Yeah, it would be cool. So
I know somebody who's got the frog boat, so
really?
yeah. I mean, Pop's boat's pretty set up for something like that.
Yeah,
you know?
got the lights on it and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool, man. I would definitely want to do it. I don't know when frogs are supposed to be a thing, though.
I think it's spring. I think as soon as like it gets hot, I think they get kind of musty.
What do bullfrogs do during the winter? Do they
Find a hole, I guess.
So like a big bullfrog, how old is it?
I don't know, man. Pretty old.
It's not like an annual thing, though. They don't like grow to be big at the end of the summer or something.
Yeah, it ain't like a locust or nothing.
Okay.
You know, like they're I think they're perennial versus annual, right?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
a bullfrog is a perennial animal. So like you're gonna have like a 3-year-old bullfrog sometimes.
Gotcha.
They're probably a lot like squirrels.
Yeah.
You know how like a squirrel, like a 2-year-old squirrel is a pretty old squirrel.
Yeah.
Right? Like I think that's probably how frogs are. But I don't know that for sure.
So when you see them,
If there's any herpetologists listening,
Please.
reach out. We want to learn a little bit more about the bullfrogs.
please
Yeah.
do. I do know this summer my wife is hot and heavy and planning this trip to the Pacific Northwest.
That's good, dude.
So, like 3 to 4 weeks probably. So I'm gonna be dead broke when we get back, but it'll have been a lot of fun. So
Dead broke, building a house. It's
I know.
a place to be.
I'm gonna have to try to get it to the trim process so that you can be working on my house.
Is that what it is?
You can be like a GC while I'm gone.
I'll maintain for you while you're out of town, unless Cassie and I end up. So there's talk of us going to the mountains sometime. Probably not the P and Dub, but somewhere.
Like
I kind of would
Colorado.
like to. Well, I kind of haven't ran this by her, but I kind of would like to go like Arizona or something.
Yeah.
Just to do something a little bit different. I love Colorado. Don't get me wrong; it's like my favorite state. But I kind of just would like to go see something different. I think.
Yeah. We're trying. So Kaylee, we're trying to like plan this trip around Chris and Jamie a little bit because they're, you know, they're not as flexible, but they want to go out there. And so Kaylee right now, her plan is to meet them at Yosemite. And so because of that, it's like pretty southern route that we would take. That So she's wanting to go out through like through New Mexico, through like the what are the caverns out there?
Carlsbad.
That's
cool.
Yeah. I mean,
go to the little museum in Carlsbad, New Mexico while you're there.
Is it cool?
Yeah, they have a mummified alien.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
So that's one place she really wants to go.
Baby alien. Sorry. It's little.
Right. It's just a baby one, not a real one.
Yeah.
Or not a full grown one. So she wants to do that. And then, because we had originally kind of talked about going through a lot of these like southwestern national parks and stuff. And so she's wanting to like, she got that into her mind. And then I tried to convince her otherwise, but she still got it in her mind where she wants to go through there and then go out to like the Gila and then go on to like Petrified Forest or something like that. It was somewhere in there. And then up to the Grand Canyon or something like that. And then out to Yosemite. And I'm like, dude, it is going to be 100 million degrees in all these places. And she's like, but at night, you know? And I'm like, no, we're not living at night. Like we're sleeping at night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's like a winter trip. And so now they've got this big plan. They literally made it while I literally haven't taken a nap in 6 months. I took a nap last Sunday while they were all together at the lodge for 45 minutes. And that's what I get. They freaking start making these plans, and now everybody's flying to Yosemite, and they were going to drive up to Seattle all together. And it's like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. So
that's a long way to drive.
I know. And I was like, originally I thought we were going up to Glacier and then over. And so I would way rather do that because of the
Does my
temperature.
vote count in this? Because I'll help you.
Please. Any like amount of persuasion that can come for you will be appreciated.
Okay.
So
all right, I'll keep it in mind.
Yeah. So that's the only thing, the only thing that kind of there's a downside to all of it. Like there's heat in the Southwest, right? And then there's bears up in north of Colorado, and we've got little kids. So like we're not going to try to go a mile back into the backcountry to a lake and hang out with grizzly bears.
That's why Colorado is the state, man.
Yeah, I know. I agree
really
with you. But so like it's going to be a lot of staying close to the vehicle and that kind of thing when we're north of Colorado. So, but I mean, and then once we get west into like Seattle, into the whatever Cascades or whatever that range is over there, like would be a lot less worried about it, I guess.
There's grizz in the Cascades.
I heard that they don't really know if there is or not.
Who is they?
They as biologists.
And if you go to Olympic, you're definitely safe from the grizz.
Yeah.
So you'll be good to go over there.
Coastal blacks, though, right?
I didn't see anybody. I ain't worried about them black bears, dude.
They'd like a big oversized raccoon.
I'll tell you what, though, you will be surprised at how many elk and blacktail you see.
Really?
In Olympic National Park.
It's cool.
Yeah.
They're rosies?
Yes.
Yeah, dude, that's cool. I can't wait. We're gonna definitely hang out there for several days, and I have done some research, and it looks like maybe the world's greatest national park. Like
it might be.
I think it's just absolutely like some of the stuff there is going to be absolutely amazing.
It is crazy, man. It's beautiful. It's unreal. I got to spend all of an hour and a half there. It was cool.
There's like 3 different environments. There's like glacial environment. There's the like rainforest, and there's coastal.
Yeah.
And I mean like a kind of like glacier, like a Rocky Mountain almost kind of thing going on.
The one thing that just really, it's like terrible. Like humans are terrible, and because like all of the steelhead runs on the Puget Sound side are all like depleted to nothing. So like there's this huge stretch of like there's probably like 15 rivers that run out of Olympic into the Sound, and none of them have like any like I was talking to guys at the fly shop, and they're like, yeah, man, they're talking about like runs of like 18 fish and stuff like that on those.
Golly.
Yeah, so. I was they didn't really get it through their heads that like I was just like I want to catch anything, so there might be rainbows like like just native rainbows or whatever.
That'd be sweet.
Streams, but
that's one that's on my list. I would like to catch that. I would like to catch on this trip This is kind of an ideal thing, I guess. But the native rainbow would be cool. I hadn't really thought much about that one because I don't know, haven't done much research. But the coastal cut, west slope, if we take that route, which I'm not sure if we are or not, and if we end up going through California, then I thought Golden would be cool.
Yeah,
You
they're
know?
tough.
Yeah, I
to
know.
get to.
I've been doing
But
some
you can
research.
get a lot of different of the rainbow varieties that way.
Yeah.
So let me put another little bug in your ear. Do you know what a blackmouth is? Not a blackmouth
Cur.
not a dog, but a fish.
No.
Blackmouth is a juvenile king salmon.
Okay.
You will be able to catch a blackmouth if you fish in the sound.
Really?
And fish and like work at it. Yeah. I'll even tell you where to go on an outgoing tide. You can catch
from the shore.
from the shore if you bring waders. That's why I didn't catch any last time.
Oh.
Because I didn't have waders, and the Puget Sound is freezing cold. You ain't way wading that sucker. But yeah, so you could in that moment there were blackmouths and coastals jumping out of the water, eating like baby shrimps and stuff at about 90 feet. And
So you just needed another 20.
needed another 20 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dadgummit.
I know it, man.
That's probably like knee deep.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
Because there's a spin cast guy next to me who's ripping them in.
Was he?
Yeah.
Dang, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It's cool. Well, I was like,
did you get to look at him at all?
that's when I learned what a blackmouth was.
Oh.
Because I was like, what is that? He's like, oh, it's a blackmouth. I was like, okay, what is that? He's like, it's a king salmon. I was like, that's a king? He's like, yeah, it's like a juvenile.
How big?
I mean, we're talking like a sizable fish, dude. We're talking, it's king salmon. You know?
Like 16?
Blackmouths are like that. Yeah, like a slot bass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
So-
Yeah, I'd try that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I got a lot of research to do. I got a lot of time. Apparently, we have to make our plans 6 months ahead, or whatever.
Hey, also, I have a Fly Fisher's Guide to Washington that
I
you
will
can
take
borrow.
that. I will. Yeah. I want to spend one of my plans is to spend a lot of time in Oregon because the book, the 1,001 things or places to fly fish or whatever it is, 1,001 somethings to fish, and
Is there really 1,001 in there?
Yeah, I mean that's what he says.
Yeah.
I would believe it because there's a
Yeah.
lot. It's a big, thick book. I love that book, and he says Oregon is like outrageous.
Really?
I think that I think he mentions that there's like 4 different types of landscapes that you can fish for trout in, like high desert, coastal, mountain, something else.
This is of my perception, but I believe Oregon is the most overlooked Western state.
Nobody ever talks about it.
Nobody talks about Oregon.
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Like, I think Portland is the town in Oregon.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
even know for sure.
Yeah, which I've heard is beautiful. Tori actually flew there for some reason, stayed there for a couple weeks or something like that, maybe, and did some really cool stuff there. So, yeah, that's my plan is to actually spend most of our time in Oregon and Washington, and then the rest of the time be traveling here and there through the Rockies.
That'd be cool.
Anyway,
Me and my wife decided last summer that we did a little Colorado trip, and it seems that like the Rockies it's almost like they're best enjoyed from a car. As weird as that sounds, like driving around to different places and staying in different places because you get to see it all.
Yeah.
Like I hate this. Not hate. That's not the right word. It's not as much fun for me to go stay in this one cabin for 5 days and explore the area around that.
Right.
It's cool, but to really understand the grandeur of some of these mountain ranges, you have to drive all the way around them.
Yeah.
And realize hey, I'm 90 miles from where I was yesterday, and I'm still looking at that peak.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. My wife she asked me today or yesterday, she was like, do you think we could stay like 2 or 3 days in one spot, this time? I'm like, yeah, probably, because last year we were gone 11 days and we literally packed up every day. We packed up everything. And I was like, it's something that I feel like a lot of people would probably hate, to pack up every day. But I was excited every day. We had the system down. You start throwing stuff in the truck. It all goes in the exact same spot by day 2. You got it down, pack it all up, and you take off and you go find another place to camp for the night. And I mean, we just kind of like, I mean, there was times when like it kind of messed us up, like in Wyoming, where we had to sleep in a parking lot in Jackson Hole with 4 people in one car. That was not fun. But, you know, at the end of the day, like, or at the end of the trip, I guess, there was some, man, we got to see some really cool stuff because we drove so much.
Yeah.
And we had some, like, we could have stayed at one camp. There was, all our campgrounds were great, but there was like 2 campgrounds that were off the charts. You know what I mean? And like we would have never known about them if we'd have just stayed at one of the first campgrounds or something like that, you know? So I don't know. I think that I agree with you. Like driving and seeing these places and getting out and spending a couple hours here and there, that's kind of the way to do it, I feel like.
For sure.
So
I think too, like if you want to like get on some of that culture stuff too, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
You know, because you can get really sucked into the tourist trap real quick if you stay somewhere for a while. But like driving around, like you're going to hit some smaller towns and really see what it's all about sometimes, you know, and that's what's cool. Like,
ate the best pretzels I've ever eaten from a little general store. You hate pretzels, don't you?
Yeah.
That's weird. Hey, these things are awesome, dude.
Like soft or like crunchy pretzels?
They're crunchy. Yeah, and
They're
they were
homemade?
They were made by, they're like a boutique, as far as I know, they're like a boutique company that makes pretzels, and we found them in this little general store out in like Wyoming, south of the Wind River Range, and they were so good. But like that's kind of like, I guess going along with what you said, like you find these little things like that, you know. If you,
like we have a farmer's market in Gunnison that is like, I'm not into that. Like the
so we
like,
got them chows.
Yes, dude, the Child's place, the best cherries, dude. Like I'm telling you, we've been eating like these dark colored cherries. We've been living a lie, dude. The good cherries are those ones that are like pink and yellow. They have them there, and they're so good.
You think they're local?
I don't know.
Locally grown?
I don't know, but they're good. But either way, like it was cool. Like you can get like they got the green chilies like going through the char and thing, you know, right there. Yeah. You know, like that's cool.
Little like hand wound basket thing. That's cool, dude. Yeah, I'd like to see that. So kind of back to like wrapping up here, like back to whitetail a little bit. What are you thinking this summer? What are a few things you're going to need to focus on, like going into next year? I know we'll be talking a lot about this stuff, but just as a kind of a general thought.
I think that, you and I both spend a lot of time getting set up and ready to hunt when we do hanging hunts. And I really would like to minimize that. I don't know, I've talked a lot about like the saddle thing. Seems to be like the cool thing that people are doing nowadays. I don't want to just do it just because everybody's doing it. But like if we can find one that really does work, and I think we might have a lead on that, then we might try that out. I might try that out. I don't know. I just really feel like I feel like we didn't kill a deer this year. No, let me rephrase that. I feel like there's at least one hunt that our hanging hunt setup time or noise that we made or something affected our hunt negatively, and we don't know it because you don't know those things. But I feel like that happened because 2 dudes, 2 camera arms, 2 stands, some sticks, like that's a lot.
And the stands, man, are the 2 that I have are old and at times noisy, not super like. They're old Muddy Vantages, like from when Muddy was Muddy. They're great. I love them. But there are things that when I don't know how many times we hunted this year, but when you hunt that many times in a row for a couple of years, or, that many times a year for a couple of years, you start to like, there are little things that you could definitely like do to make things better. You know what I mean? Like if I was to hunt like 5 days a year, probably wouldn't notice it too much, but like I start to, especially like after ATA and we went and looked at some of that stuff, like, man, there are things that could be a lot better. And I wish I could weld, I wish I could weld because I would make something, super lightweight, and I would just use that and it would fit exactly how I wanted to into my system and be quiet and everything like that. But, it costs money to weld, or it costs money to buy something like that. And, you only got so much money a year.
Yeah.
Or we do at least.
Yeah. But
so I agree with you. That's something that I kind of was talking about is our mobile setup needs to be a little more effective, a little quieter, probably a little quicker.
Yeah. I mean, have you thought of something else?
As far as like stands go,
No, just general whitetail stuff.
yeah, I mean, I mentioned it earlier, but trying to get more permissions, I might try a little harder at it this year, and then I'm likely going to get a new bow. I don't know if it's going to be brand new, but a newer bow.
Yeah.
Which is sad, kind of, for me, because
It is. You got a lot of blood on your bow, man.
the first buck I ever killed was with that bow, or the bow. The first bow buck I ever killed was with that bow, and that was 12 years ago, which also happens to be the same year that I assume Frankenstein was born. How weird is that?
Oh,
it's kind of a weird parallel.
That is crazy.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's cool. It's crazy to think about that, like, because that seems like so long ago when I killed that deer. And it's weird to think that a deer that was alive this year was born then.
That is crazy, man.
Possibly.
That is
I don't know
cool.
if that's true or not, but I think so. But anyway, when I shot that first buck, things were so much different, dude. Like, the world was a different place. You know, like, Facebook had literally just started. You had to have like a college ID to get in, you know, to Facebook. Like trail cameras. We had one trail camera back then, and it, like, my dad like rigged it to hook up to like a car battery, and it would take like 24 pictures, and then you'd have to go get the film developed. You know,
we had one of those.
Yeah, I mean, it was a different game, dude.
Yeah,
no OnX, you know. Honestly, like, everything deer hunting felt much wilder. Like, this is kind of like a blissfully ignorant, but at the same time, like, just a different generation of humans. You know, it's weird, and that's just like a little over a decade ago.
Well, a decade ago, I didn't realize that like 200s were a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like maybe you were a little bit more enlightened to it than I was, but like I didn't think about. I was still on the counting the points. You know, because it's just where we live in our area of Texas, and even if you venture south, like people were like, "Man, you might kill a 12-point down there." You know, it was just a different thing, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is crazy, man.
But I think another thing for me this summer, and we'll probably cover this in depth later, is the property management side of things.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to try to make my place as wildlife friendly as possible. But
I'm excited about
not
that.
to
dude.
touch on that too much, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of video content and all kinds of stuff to come from that. So
yeah.
In fact, there might even be a preview of that from this winter, because I took my first real hunt out there.
Yeah.
And
how'd that go?
It went well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I just saw one little story thing.
I don't like muzzleloaders at all, man.
Yeah.
They're weird. But saw a buck, saw some does, saw a pig, and got a lot of footage. So might have something from that.
You didn't shoot at one of the does?
So I didn't. It was weird. Because I went out there, like, I was like, all right, I need to, like, make the sausage I want to make. I need another deer. And I went out there and saw a young buck that I'd seen on camera a lot.
Like 2-year-old or
like
lower?
Like a good 1-year-old.
Really?
Which is like good 1.5.
Multi-tine 1.5.
Yeah. Well, he's a forky 6, like brow tines, but like heavy for his age. Kind of makes you excited.
Yeah. And
this is all from the ground at like 30 yards, so it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
And then the does come out, and I'm not feeling super great about the muzzleloader, but like 30 or 40 yards, it's like, okay, yeah. And I don't know, this one lead doe came out by herself. I'm like, that's probably the doe to shoot. Came out and started eating corn, looked at me, and was like, I'm not worried about him. And I was like, you know what? That is the mama doe of all the does around here. She's the one that all these not my does, but the does that live on my property, like, look to for guidance. Like, I can't do it. I can't shoot her. So I just didn't shoot.
Cool.
And let them go. Her and then the other does came out, and then they would look at me, and then they go back to eating, and then they look the other direction, and like get really weirded out, and finally they ran away. It's like, what is going on? Ain't no way my wind is circling 180 degrees up and coming back down. Well, then the pig comes out, and that's what they were spooking from, was that pig.
You scared them into Wood County.
Stupid pigs, stupid muzzleloaders. You have to watch it to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
but it was
cool.
fun. It was cool.
That's cool. I'm excited to help you with that and film you, change the landscape and making the mistakes.
That's right.
And doing the right things, hopefully.
Yeah.
Put some big old Alamo grass on there.
Oh, yes. It's going to be so native, man. So native.
So natively delicious.
We probably shouldn't even talk about this in this podcast, but I haven't written in a while, but I've got something brewing right now.
Going to blog?
Going to blog it.
Dang, I was thinking about doing a blog today, and
Were you?
hadn't thought about that in 6 months.
I think this is the time of year that like you kind of want to do that.
Yeah.
It's the first time I started blogging was in the like January, February months, but got some thoughts on food plots, man.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing them. Anything else, man? Concluding?
Can't wait to kind of get 2019 started. I need to.
Yeah, me too. I've since right before Christmas, I've literally struggled to like have inspiration to work, I guess. I mean, if you want to call it, like, I'll go hunt, I'll do stuff like that, but like getting work done, like a podcast or whatever, has been a struggle, man. So I guess this is kind of we're finally getting back into the circle of, or the, the cycle of life and doing things a certain way in a, certain habit. So maybe this will set us into the right path. One thing I would mention is that our shirts are now for sale online.
How about that?
Yeah. So we have, we've held out long enough on you guys. We've been selling them locally, but they are online now. So all you got to do is go to the website, which you can find that pretty easily by searching us on Google, or you can go to theelementwild.com. And if you want to, /shop is the store. So you can go to the store. There's 2 shirts available right now. I'm working on a different shirt and a hat possibly. So those aren't in there yet, but you can buy the shirts. And the shirts are super comfy. They are a little bit like an athletic fit. So, if you're like normally a large and that fits you pretty well, but you're not like an athletic type body, you might go for like an XL. It probably, they fit pretty slender, especially like on the sleeves and up top and stuff. So, anyway, they're super comfortable though, like really soft shirts. Do you remember what brand they are?
Next Level.
Okay. For some reason on the website, I think we have them as Gildan, but I think that was before we ordered through a different person. Yeah. And we got them as Next Level. So I've sold lots of shirts. Next Level is for real.
It's not a misnomer.
Stuff. No, it's Next Level. It is. It's a super comfortable shirt. Anyway, super soft. There are a couple options there for you at the store. So check that out if you would be so kind to get a good price on a good shirt and also help us out. So
rep it.
That's
right, dude.
Rep the element. Live in your element.
That's it. In your element shirt.
Come on. Anyway, so I hope you guys are starting to look ahead to 2019. To the potential of doing things this summer that will help you kind of have a successful fall, which is what we're gonna be living that story with you, hopefully, and sharing our side of things. Hope you share your side with us. Any tips or thoughts that you have that could help us, feel free to shoot them over through social media or whatever, because we read everything and we take into consideration all these things that you guys send us. So we appreciate that. Thanks for listening. It means a lot to us. God bless. And remember, this is your element.
Living it.
Hey everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. Meat Eater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the engineer's going to be there. Meat Eater Live headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay? Every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Arts Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24th, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, The Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.